It's the fantastic power of releasing judgments. Well, that guy wrote his wife, ex-wife, a letter and appreciated her for all the wonderful things she brought to the written. Now, how many people ever get divorced, ever express appreciation for the person that they used to be? Very few people do that, you know. Now, someone who does, the beautiful blonde lady back there, the purple top, Carol Provenzano, brilliant realtor, Keller Williams around the corner. Is one of the great exceptions. And I was going to say, this is one of the great examples I have ever known of appreciating her style. You just don't see that. I mean, really appreciating. You know, not crazy about all of his qualities, but he's a great dad and just really appreciating. You know, and that's a wonderful thing. And so, another person that I met, her name was Sally, worked at Beaumont Hospital, came to the church. Trudging through the snow. We're going on the morning shift to a job she disliked, and she was listening to some great CDs about positive focus. Zig Ziglar. And, well, they were. And she was very unhappy with her life, even though she was very smart. And we happened to talk at the church. She resented her parents all of her life. They weren't perfect. They didn't do it, you know. Carrying that resentment around. How does your life work? You know this intuitively. How do our lives work? Oh, see, all you have to do is resent one person. That's all we have to do. See, why would I forgive the guy who cheated me? Because I don't want the consequence of carrying that around. You know? I'm like you. I mean, I'm on the verge of being global. Now, being on the verge doesn't mean anything. The only thing counts is if you do it. But I'm not going to let anybody get in the way of my conscience. You see what I'm saying? So I just let that go. Let the universe deal with him. What goes around comes around. So, who said baby? I wouldn't disagree with you. Okay. But I am reasonably smart. Yeah. And so she was in a lot of pain over that. Came to church. Talked one day. She said, "You really inspired me, and I want to thank you." I said, "What was that?" She said, I realized that if I was going to move forward, I needed to forgive my parents and let that go, because they did the best they could. And I said, they did. Now here's one principle of life. Every human being alive at every moment of their life does the only thing they are capable of doing with the prevailing awareness of the moment. There's no shoulding on people. You should have done better. I should have done better. There's no should. Now it doesn't make it right. Okay? It doesn't make it easy to deal with. I forgave my alcoholic father because his father was the most miserable person any of us have ever known. He couldn't do any better. And alcoholism is a disease. And my mom just didn't leave him. She did a fabulous job. You know, raised 3 boys. Did a great job. I forgave them both. It changed my whole life. Changed my whole life. The one thing I will always do is I don't get hurt very often, and people treat me extraordinarily well. You know, they really do. I'm profoundly blessed. And but if there's an issue, I'm not going to hang on to it. You know, I'm not, because I don't want the consequences of it. How many do you get what I mean? And I'm not going to blame myself. There years ago, I made so darn many mistakes. I used to blame myself. I let all that go. I said, I want to learn from these things. So I just want to support you. Maybe search your conscience a little bit. You know if you got any old grudges. You know if you're at peace with the people in your past. It only takes one. If you're not, they did the best they could. Somebody might say, well, you don't know what he did. You don't know what she did. There's stories all over America. People had their children murdered. And because they were spiritual, they ended up going to the prison and befriending the person who killed their child. There's a lot of stories like that. Because it's just too heavy duty carrying them around. So tonight, it's really about growth and expansion. How many of you are excited about a new year? I am committed to it being the best year I ever had in my life. And I will do whatever I need to do. You know, I pray and meditate twice a day. If I need to do it 3 times a day, I'll do it 3 times a day. I just did a whole bunch of things to expand my network, becoming a little healthier than I was a couple years ago. I want to have a fabulous year next year. I think someone said this, we don't know how long we're going to be here. Now, I'm a really young guy. How many of you also are young? Yeah, I'm a really young guy, but you can't say, well, I got another 30 years. I don't mean that heavy, but I mean life is now. And I will just say this, if you're not getting what you want from life, it's something inside of you that's blocking it, you or holding you back. And it's not a criticism of you. It's just to go to the source and say, what can I let go? That's why I meditate every day. Because I don't have a big ego. See, I'd much rather be happy than right. Because you can't be both. I just want to be happy and fulfilled and prosperous. I don't have any need to be right. So I just really want to support you. I gave you the red card, right? There's the formula. We'll take a couple more minutes. Number 1. Who'll read number 1? Everybody together. Number 1. Go. Forgiveness is a choice. Number 2. All anger toward yourself and others. Every human being alive did the best they could at every moment of their life with their prevailing awareness. It doesn't mean they can't do better, but they did the only thing they could. There's no should. You should have done better. No such thing. Number 3. Write forgiveness statements to release anger and resentment. Number 4. Visualize good fortune for others. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but what we repeatedly see for others, we draw into our life. I always pray for people's prosperity. I absolutely delight in people's prosperity. You know, I coach individuals and I'm thrilled when they have breakthroughs. And number 5, everybody, set yourself free in order to... Now, just make a note. In order to... Oh, we missed love. Well, okay, well, forgive me. In order to live life fully. Wow, I missed that. Okay. The way to do it is you write forgiveness statements. I forgive you, Mom, for nagging me. I forgive you, Dad, for not supporting me. I forgive you, Mom, for leaving Dad. I forgive you, Dad, I forgive you, Jim or John, for breaking my heart, for hurting me, for life. See, a lot of people, adults as life, married several times, can't get life to work because they still resent men or women because of what somebody did when they were 20, 21, 22. I mean, that really is true. If you're interested in a relationship, a loving relationship, you're not going to create one if you resent either men or women. It doesn't matter what they did. So you can't bury it. You can't bury anything. Chain's only as strong as the sweetest link. Anything we have buried, anger and resentment, that's running our life. That's all I'm saying. So write forgiveness statements and then write them about yourself. You know, I forgive you, Michael.